So it is Friday afternoon and I am actually getting a late start today. I went and did some visiting today and got a little bit behind. So I've got everything in the farm finished and I have some prep work to do. So tonight we are actually having pizza. It has been a little bit since we had any. So I figured instead of making my husband an actual pizza crust, I'm going to do for him like I'm going to do for myself. I actually have to make some naan bread for both of us. One is going to be with regular carbs, the other is going to be made with low carbs. So I'm going to be doing that with you today, on top of preparing some of my husband's breakfast into the next week. One of those being chocolate waffles, and the other is going to be like a cheese biscuit that you can, I'm going to try this. I've never tried it before, but supposedly you can take these biscuits and you can make them like a McDonald's. You can add sausage, eggs, and cheese, or bacon, egg, and cheese. So I'm going to make him a few of these, and I can also make sausage gravy to go with this if he wanted instead. So we're going to be making some of that as well. So I'm going to get everything prepared and we're going to go from there. Okay, y'all, so we're going to start with naan bread for me first, because this is going to sit for an hour, where hubbies is really, there's no waiting time like this one is. So we're going to start with this one. I'm just going to go ahead and give you the full recipe, but as I go along, I'm cutting this in half because it's just me and I don't need that many. This recipe will make 12 naan bread. So I first need a 1/4 cup of warm water and 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast. Now I'm going to give you, again, you guys are getting the full recipe, but I'm going to work while I'm thinking at the same time, doing this in half for just me. And then I'm going to need a teaspoon of sugar. While making these ingredients, if I tend to be just a little slow, it's because I'm trying to think at the same time so I don't mess this up for one person. So now I'm going to mix these two together, or mix this mix together. This is our yeast that we're going to make bloom. So once I get to mixing this up, I'm going to set it aside and we're going to let it set for about 10 minutes. But in the meantime, we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. So this was 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast, a 1/4 cup of warm water, and a teaspoon of sugar. So now I'm just going to set this aside. And I'm going to let that bloom. In the meantime, I'm going to come over here and fix up the rest of our ingredients. So I'm going to need 4 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm actually going to be using bread flour. Again, like I told you all, I have a 5-gallon bucket full of bread flour, but unfortunately also it's bleached, so just like regular flour. So I'm just going to use it instead. I think it leaves a better texture anyways, and I want to get this over with so that I can replace it with bread flour that's unbleached. So that was 4 cups of all-purpose flour. I need 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Concentrating on this one. And I am going to mix these two together. And our yeast is starting to become active, so once that becomes active, we'll be adding it to the rest of this ingredients. So we will be back just as soon as this is through blooming. Okay, so our yeast is ready. We're going to add that to this mix, and I am going to get a different type of spatula here that I mix with this bread mixes, because eventually I'm also going to be doing this by hand. So I'm going to add my yeast into this mix. I'm going to be adding 3/4 cup of warm water. I am actually using almond milk, or no wait, it's 3/4 cups of warm milk, and I'm using almond milk. And then I need 3/4 cup of plain yogurt. I am actually going to be using Greek yogurt. So I need these measuring cups here. Measure this out. Again, going to concentrate on this one because I am doing half version. Actually, this was a lot smaller and better to use than that other big one. There's that one, and then my next one. All right, and that's it. Now I'm going to mix all this together. Get this set aside. Oh, one more thing I need is a 2 tablespoons of oil. This says vegetable oil. I am actually going to be using olive oil. All right, so now I'm going to mix all these ingredients together. Again, once I get it to the point of hard to stir, I'm going to come in here and I am actually going to use my hands. And once I get this completely mixed up, I'm going to take it and knead it for 4 to 5 minutes so I can make a smooth dough. If I don't pour my ingredients out of my bowl. And now y'all know why I wear aprons. I don't know what it is. Hubby's got this thing though, if I'm wearing it, he says it's going to be good. So I decided, I was going against aprons for the longest time, but I use them more often now, and that's the reason why I started making my own. I may get in the point I may be selling these at our farmer's market. Just about got it where all the ingredients are blended up in here really good. And then I'll be kneading this until smooth. Without adding any more flour or anything to it. So I'm just going to keep kneading this until it's smooth. And then once I get this smooth, we will be right back, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, so this has been mixed. I'm going to cover this up, set it aside, and let it rise for an hour. So now I'm going to set up the next station, which is going to be working on hubby's naan bread. So while this is rising, we're going to move on to the next one. Okay, y'all, so now we're going to move on to hubbies. This one will have some wait time, but not as long as what I have. So, and these make 8. What's nice about doing this ahead of time like this, again, these are absolutely all freezable. And once I make it the first round, I can always freeze them. And then if we ever want pizza or whatever later, I can always pull them out of the freezer, reheat them, or let them defrost and use them. These are excellent. Naan bread makes an excellent one-person pizza. So, and these here, just if you are curious, it makes 8 servings, and it has, per naan bread is 2.2 net carbs. So these are actually really good for a diabetic as well. And I'm using the same ingredients that I always use with hubby. It does not spike his sugar, so I know these are safe. Again, you'll want to check yours, but this is where we have learned over time that this stuff is good for hubby. So the first thing I'm going to need is 1 cup of vital wheat gluten. If you are gluten sensitive, this will not be the recipe for you. So I'm going to get 1 cup of my vital wheat gluten. And that's my 1 cup. I need a 1/2 cup of oat fiber. Let me get this one put up. These bags don't seal back very well, so I put them in different Ziploc bags. So the oat fiber, I need a 1/2 cup of this. And I ordered these ingredients online, y'all. It's the only place I can find them. Alright, so there was that. And now I need 6 tablespoons of whipping flour. Again, you can order this on Amazon. Sometimes I do not think ahead of time. Okay, I got this. We got this. I know some of y'all said you like the videos not to be as long. It's kind of hard to do that when I'm trying to do things like this. So I apologize if these are exceptionally long. And this will actually be the last video until probably about Monday or Tuesday of next week, because I take the weekend off so everybody can catch up. But in order to be thorough with all of my ingredients and everything, I actually I kind of don't think of the time. I try to make them as low down as possible, so I apologize if they're too long. Okay, so I lost my other one. So I need 6 tablespoons of lupin flour. I'm going to go ahead and get this and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to mix all of these dry ingredients together. Now I'm going to add 1 cup of water to this mix. I'm going to bring it all together. The reason this one's going to sit for 20 minutes after that is so that all the flour and everything can be absorbed with the liquid. So I'm going to get this again mixed up to a certain point, and then I'm going to be doing this one with my hands. Right now I'm just incorporating all the flour into this mix at this point. Now I am trying this differently, unlike the bread. A lot of them say to use the scales. I've used the scales, so I'm going to try and use their measuring cups, ingredients, or amounts that they've given, and see if these come out better this way than the way it's been lately. So it doesn't hurt to try it. Okay, so now at this point they said to add a tablespoon of olive oil and then mix this up in this together with it. So we're going to do that. This is kind of sticky, but now I'm going to take a tablespoon of olive oil on top of this and blend it in this really well. I don't know why it would be told to do it after the fact instead of in the mix, but that's what they said, so we're going to try this. I can't remember who I got this recipe from. I've had it for a while and I've not tried it. I decided to go ahead and try this for a naan bread instead of a whole crust for hubby and see how this works. So now I'm just going to incorporate this until it is smooth and all the oil is mixed in here really good. And then I'm going to cover this up for 20 minutes. And we just about have it, so alright, so now I'm gonna take this glop of a mess we have here Now I'm going to let this rest, cover it up for 20 minutes, and we will be back. Okay, so our 20 minutes is up. I'll pull it out of our bowl, and if you have to flour your surface, you can use oat fiber for this. So I'm going to reuse this bowl because now I want to take this and I'm going to cut it in 8 pieces. Like I said, I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. I'm thinking this is a ketoserts recipe. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8 pieces. Now I'm going to take each one and we're going to form them into a ball. And after these are formed, these are going back into our bowl covered for another 10 minutes to rest. And then from there comes the cooking part. So, and a matter of fact, her ketoserts is also going to be another recipe I'm going to use for the chocolate waffles to prepare for my husband's breakfast. So I don't know, I happen to like her food. It's about as close to real as I have found. But like our bread experience, I decided that I'm going to try by her cup versions to see if these work out better than the scaled version, because something just doesn't add up right. So I'm just going to check it out and see how this goes. And by using this naan recipe that way, it's going to help me. Even though she suggests to use the scales, I have done that, but my results have been varying. So I'm going to take these, finish rolling them up, put them in the bowl, cover them up, and I'm going to let these rest for 10 minutes, and after that point we will be back. Okay, for the coating on our naan bread, both mine and hubby's, I am actually going to be making a garlic topping. And instead of using garlic butter, I'm actually using some olive oil. And I've got about 2 large cloves in here. And I'm also going to be mixing in some chopped fresh parsley to give it a little bit of flavor. Even though these are for pizza, this is still going to work as far as adding flavor to it. And this will be brushed on the top of the naan bread. So hubby's is done. By the time I get his made up, it's going to be going straight to mine and fixing it up. And I'm going to be using this griddle beside me. So I'm going to go ahead and get his ready, and then we'll jump over to the next. Okay, for his, there it is. We're going to take it and roll this out into about a 1/4 inch thick. And I may have to put down some oat fiber because it keeps wanting to stick to everything. I'm not going to use a whole lot of this. I'm just using a little bit just to add surface onto, to keep these from sticking. Then again, I might have to go with a heavier based rolling pin as well. Let me get a heavier rolling pin and see if that'll help. Okay, so yes, it needed a heavier rolling pin. So I've got this one out, and then she says to brush it on top with olive oil. And then for some reason, fold it up again and roll it out again before putting them into the frying pan over here. So now I guess we just take this like this, what she said to do. Fold this around, turn it over, and then roll it out again. I do not know the purpose for this, y'all, to be honest with you, but I'm just doing what it shows. And again, I will be putting the links to the recipe in the description below for you guys if you want to try these. I don't know, this seems awful small for pizza crust for hubby, but we'll see what we can do. So let me go ahead and get this rolled out, and then I'll get it in the pan. Okay, so we got this rolled out. Now we're going to throw this into our pan, and she says to put this in here for a couple minutes till it gets bubbled on one side. Flip it just like you would tortillas, I imagine. So we'll see how this works. I really still don't understand why I had to roll this twice instead of just doing it that one time. I'm going to try one just to see if it's really necessary to do that. Because that, to me, I mean, that takes up a lot of time. And Vital Wheat gluten, it is a little bit harder to work with than any other doughs. But if it means having more of a realistic type of bread source, then I guess it's worth the extra work to me. Now, I will say that these being 2.2 net carbs, hubby could easily have 2 of these for a pizza. But like I said, I don't see why I would want to, let me add this up just a little higher, do this twice when it just kind of makes no sense to me. Especially the effort that it takes to even just roll them out. So I'm going to try one without rolling it twice and see how it does. It can't hurt. We'll just brush it with olive oil. And then we'll throw this in the pan. Let me get a spatula and turn this. A lot of these recipes, y'all, I'm just trying them with you, so. Yeah, I mean, it looks like naan bread. Acts kind of like naan bread. Just doing this for a few minutes on each side. And then we put it in, just like the pita yesterday, put it in a towel. Let me get this one just a little bit longer. But you'll put it in a towel and cover it up and keep them warm. And I'm going to go ahead and brush on some of that garlic and some of this mixture on top of this as well. Rather pretty though, y'all. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead with this next one. Now this is the one that we did not roll twice. We're going to see how this one goes. And see if it does better. Get this one done, and then we'll be right back, and I'll let you know which one I think worked better. Okay, so we are going to finish this, and I'm very honest with you, there was really no difference. So you can make a choice of re-rolling like I did the first one, or just doing a one-time roll and frying these up. I'm probably going to do the rest of these, just the one roll, frying them up, and then moving on to the next, because like I said, I didn't see the purpose from having to do this twice. So I'm going to go ahead and finish these off, and then I will be back with the next set, which will be mine. While I'm with you on the camera, I'm going to go ahead and take one of these and do a flavor testing and show you right now how these pull apart, just like, basically just like naan. It's got the same texture and everything, so it's got that chew to it. All in all, this would make a good pizza crust. I do believe that. So would I do this again? Absolutely. For individual size pizzas, this works really good. Matter of fact, this tastes a lot better than the pizza crust recipe that I had made prior before. So I would definitely do this again, y'all. Now back to finishing these. Okay, y'all, so we've got hubbies finished. Now we're going to go ahead and start these next ones. And to keep from these videos being exceptionally long with all that we are doing today, I'm actually going to break this up in two different videos. One will be on making these breads. The other is going to be preparing for all the breakfasts. Now, again, we don't necessarily eat all this bread. We do freeze it, just like we would our pantry, have it in there for accessibility until we run out, and I do this again. Now this one here, I divided it in half, so I'm going to make this into 6 pieces instead of 12 to make my naan bread. And I am definitely going to have to put some flour down on this one. This one will not be cooked in the cast iron skillet. I will flip you around and I will show you how I'm going to do this one on an electric griddle. So I'm just going to take, again, just like I did the others, take this and form these into a ball. Then I'm going to roll these out and we will fry them up. So I'm going to go ahead and get this prepared and we will be right back. Okay, for this one, I've got my griddle set for about 400 degrees. I can determine from there which is best between 400 to 375. But right now we're going to try this at 400 and see how this goes. So far so good, getting nice and bubbly. I don't know if you can see those. But we're just going to do this for a couple minutes, about 2 to 4 minutes or 3 to 5 minutes on each side. It will puff up just a little bit. It will not puff up like pita, but it will be fluffy, as it's really good for a pizza crust. And then I will show you the finish of the side by side for both mine and for hubbies. Go ahead and flip this over, and then we'll flip it over again. So it's really simple. It's a little bit time consuming, but when you think about everything in the end of it, and then you're going to freeze it later, do this one time. You can do this on the weekend, have you some already made crust or whatever in your fridge. These are fantastic along with pita to use for hummus. Anything, basically. You can make them into wraps to make gyros. Again, you can use this instead of pita or lavish bread. Any of these sources make great variety of different breads, basically. Individual servings. And I am not eliminating from regular to low carb, because everybody gets to enjoy something that they absolutely love. Not everybody eats a bread source, but there's a lot of people who do. So I want to give them the versatility, just like hubby. Now last night he thought that was pretty cool. When we made the fattoush salad, I had pita chips, but so did he. So he did not feel like we had two separate meals. It was actually kind of cool. So, and that's about it, y'all. So now this one is done. I'm going to take it and put it on my plate. Keep it warm. And then go ahead and continue the rest of the 5 of these breads. And we will be back. Okay, y'all, and that would conclude the end of the pita breads for you to, or naan breads actually, to be able to make individual pizzas out of. I will show you the final result between the regular naan and the low carb naan. The other thing I'm going to do is I am actually going to cut this video off at this segment, and because hubby has so many different varieties of breakfast things that he wants, I'm going to show 2 of them. Again, I'm going to show the chocolate waffles, and I am actually going to be making a cheese like cheddar biscuits, and this is one again that you can make into McDonald's or like type of breakfast or with gravy. So I am going to be doing those. When it comes to breakfast for me and Mediterranean, I'm not going to combine that with the low carb video. I'm actually going to do that one-on-one with you and give you some examples and dedicate that entire video strictly on Mediterranean. This way I can try to help everybody in every direction, just like I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to combine the videos into one, and some have said that they were too long. I apologize. So I'm going to break them down in sections and see if they're more enjoyable that way. I try to work with everybody, but there is so much that I can put out here in content and work with you and try these recipes with you and see what we can do. So we're going to end this one, and I'm going to show you the comparison, and then we will end this video completely. I love you all dearly. Much love. And let's go to looking at the comparison, and we'll go from here. And here we have it, y'all. Now this one is a regular naan bread, and this one here is the low carb. Again, this is 2.2 net carbs. Make great individual pizzas. Same with these. You can actually do, if you put your pizza toppings on here. Now this one for my husband will probably be 1 piece. So I could basically give him 2, and he would have 4.4 net carbs on top of whatever he has on his toppings. For me, these will be a little bit more costly because this is regular breading. So I can actually take this, or 2 small ones, or I can divide it completely right in half. So however this goes, and I pretty much watched my carb count today, so I may go ahead and just do 2 of them. But this is how this one goes. I'm hoping that I accommodated both the regular and low carb people, the Mediterranean and low carb. So I enjoy doing this. So I'm hoping that what we learn, what we use, can help somebody else. So until next time, much love to each and every one of you from Parton's Heritage Homestead.